Well, this episode is about one of those friendships, a friendship that grew through late night phone calls, prayers, laughter, and the kind of honesty that stretches you and heals you at the same time. My lovely friend Kirigo.
The way you handle conversations, like difficult conversations once they're raised. And I was like, this girl goes in head on. I'm like, what?
When did you realize our friendship was something deeper?
I realized it was deeper because we became more intentional.
The reason why I define this friendship like family is because the way I would love on my sister, for me, I feel like, the world sort of God had a way of giving me like a bonus sister. I think every time I've built intimate relationships, I'm always saying like the beauty of the kingdom of God is like how God tends to extend your family.
Yeah.
So how would you say how it built trust?
It's been transparency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know how sometimes God sends people not to change your story, but to remind you that you're not crazy for believing it still matters? Well, this episode is about one of those friendships, a friendship that grew through late night phone calls, prayers, laughter, and the kind of honesty that stretches you and heals you at the same time. So we've seen each other evolve in faith, in our work, and who we are becoming. And so this isn't just friendship, it's family. So welcome to Grace and Glow Up, and this is the friendship that found us. So let's talk about becoming each other's safe space with my guest, my lovely friend Kirigo. And this is we're doing this as a two-part series because, well, this conversation could not be covered in one. So you want to check out for this episode and next week's episode. But over to you, Kirigo is so many things, but introduce yourself.
I knew you were going to tell me to introduce myself. I wasn't ready for that. I was like, it's your
tell me about yourself.
It's your podcast. I was like, I really wanted to see how you would introduce me. So I was like, I might just roll the ball and give it back to you and be like, girl, you better introduce me.
That we're going to figure in the episode. But the reason the kind of introduction, I think settings determine what kind of intro someone says about themselves. But maybe you defining how you define yourself. So that's usually the opportunity to introduce yourself. Who's Kirigo? If someone says, who's Kirigo? Who's Kirigo?
Who is Kirigo? So anyway.
Kirigo, what?
So I'm Kirigo. I'm from Kenya.
Yeah.
I love God.
Yes.
Yes. I think that's why Ivy and I think once we go through the podcast and we get to know each other a little bit, or you get to see how our friendship has actually evolved, you would get to see what has actually made us more centered and how we actually got to become the friends that we are right now.
Yeah.
And why we actually value these kingdom friendships that we actually do have.
Yeah.
I'm not really going to give up much about myself. So we'll just wait until the end of the podcast.
Friendly.
So that you can get to know me more.
Mystery. Let's work with the mystery. But I would say, because this we won't discuss majorly in the podcast. Kirigo, professionally, what do you do?
Oh, there you go, girl.
Because, sell your market.
I was actually going to point it out maybe somewhere during one of your questions.
Yes.
Then I was thinking how to actually put it into play. That's
why
I was saying it's much easier for you to
get into the rest of it.
Yeah, you get to know me in a more authentic way as we go through the conversations. And
that's why Kirigo's, guys, now you understand the difference between our personalities. This is why Kirigo's profile on social media is private and mine is a public profile.
That's an ongoing discussion that will never end.
Absolutely. So every friendship has its turning points. That moment when it shifts from just casual to covenant. So a few questions. How did we... So just FYI for the guys, our conversation is going to be at least two-sided because so that you understand the two perspectives, because I'm not interviewing a friend. We're trying to have a conversation from
True.
both our lenses. So
Yeah.
first question is, how did we first meet and what were your first impressions? When did we first
When
meet?
did I think we actually met in
at church.
church.
Yeah.
Yeah, that we can agree on.
Yes, yeah,
So we
yeah.
met in church. How we actually met,
The
actually,
first time per se, I can't place.
I can say because you're in the serving ministry.
Yeah.
I think then you were in the welcoming team.
I've never been in the welcome.
Wait, have you not?
I've just been a chatterbox, not in the welcome.
There you go. No.
I just talk to everybody, so maybe that's why.
But I can tell you the setting where we actually met was after the sermon. Usually we go to the foyer area,
Yes,
and
yes,
then
yes,
we would
yes.
get
Or
to
at Two Seasons.
yeah,
It was
at Two
like a
Seasons.
Kenyan hangout.
Exactly. So people would get to chat and get to know each other. So we knew people
Mutual
from
friends.
yeah, we had mutual friends, but from different settings.
Yeah.
And then I would see you there. I'll be like, damn, this girl can talk. And I was like,
Right.
But when she talks, it's like, it's not like the talking where you just talk for the sake of talking. Like there's sense that comes out of it. So I'm like, interesting. But it was always hi.
Yeah,
And then, that's it.
Because I think I took notice. Maybe we'd met before and I just didn't recognize, but I think I noticed you when Purity and Waweru moved here. And because I knew Purity and Waweru from back then in Kenya.
True.
And so I think because you guys are related, and I think in the beginning there was a lot of spending time together within the same settings.
True.
That's when I was like, oh, okay, now, this is Kirigo. But even then, we weren't necessarily socially consciously in the same setups. We were like brought by circumstance, so to speak.
True that. And actually, that's where I got to know you a little bit more than I had known you.
Me before.
Yeah, because I got to see you interact with different people who have not necessarily the same beliefs as we do have.
Yeah.
And you, because it's not only the same setting, there are other settings that we also got to interact and be in the same settings.
Yeah.
And I got to see the way you handle conversations, like difficult conversations once they're raised. And I was like, this girl like goes in head on. I'm like,
Magumu hayo.
I was like, I aspire to be like her, but at the same time, I wouldn't say I'm an introvert, but it depends who you actually talk to.
I think you're apprehensive about like consciously putting yourself in this dynamics.
Yes, but it's also something that I've actually, our friendship actually has actually taught me how to be able to have those kind of difficult conversations that are usually a little bit like, I would
Kirigo
shy
has
away.
I think we're talking about like things, these are one of the things that I feel like I've watched you. And I know, like, be more bold. And I think one of the times, a highlight time was, I remember we'd gone to, what's this place, American place, IHOP. I think we were...
No, Cheesecake Factory. I don't think we've ever been. Have we been to
IHOP for breakfast at that time.
Is it?
I was...
That
time, yes, it was me, you... of course, Waweru and Purity, and there was Jane was there at the same time.
Okay.
And I remember my plus one, and we ended up in like this intense conversation about God. It was quite interesting because we had more people who weren't we had really different views in that discussion.
Beliefs.
And I remember for the first time is where now I think I saw that side of you, like saying, oh, but this is what the idea of, Christianity is. Like I saw you in action. I was like, okay.
She does have a voice.
First of all, I didn't know, like I am very cognizant of the fact that like not everybody who comes to church is as passionate.
True.
You get.
Yeah.
So at that time is when I was like, this person is willing to take a side, like consciously. So I was like, oh, okay, this is interesting. And I think that's where I realized that, okay, there's some form of commonality in terms of our dynamic. But so I guess the next question was supposed to be, when did you realize our friendship was something deeper?
I realized it was deeper because we became more intentional, I
Yeah.
would say.
Yeah, yeah.
Intentional in the way in the conversations that we had.
Yeah.
Intentional with time because we're in a busy world,
Well, yeah,
first
yeah,
of all.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Everyone has things happening. We go through different seasons.
Yeah.
And you either get caught up with the day-to-day things,
Yeah.
but it was us making time
Yeah.
to meet up, first of all,
Yeah.
have that call,
Yes.
pray for each other,
Yeah, yeah,
which
yeah.
is, I was like, okay, I've never had a
This kind of
friendship where we get to pray for each other. Not in the setting that we currently do have. Yes,
Yeah.
we do have one where it's like, okay, I'll pray for you, I'll pray for that.
Yeah.
But it's not on a consistent
The
basis, you know?
Yeah.
So that's where I was like, oh, this is
love this,
definitely a friendship that I really need to be more
Cultivate.
intentional about how I actually approach it, and
Yeah.
we need to cultivate it.
I think mine, I was just actually thinking about it in hindsight, and I was like, hey, I had a function, a big function, and it was in Kenya around the time, and I think me and you weren't like really close per se at
Wait,
that
is
time.
it the function during
yes.
Christmas with
Yes,
Christine?
yes, where Christine came. And now that I think about it, look at how life comes full
Actually,
circle.
Christine and I were closer.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh,
And
we still are.
Yes. But at the time, even when I suggested that it was happening, I didn't consciously, like, if you didn't show up, it wouldn't have been like, oh,
I cannot believe she didn't show up.
yeah,
Girl.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, but then the fact that you did, and I think ever since, like, you've been, I think you've demonstrated that if you care for something, you put your heart and your skin in the game. And so, like, I saw you constantly show that in many ways. And I think I've told you this before, how and I think I said it this recently, there's a way you manage to show care and love without, so to speak, in a way, without it feeling like you're paying back for something.
True.
And the reason why I say that is because it's easier to, like, for me, it's easier to, because I'm always the one extending most times. When someone does something back to me,
without
I can
expectations
understand.
of
When someone does it, I'm usually like, oh yeah, of course, because I've been showing up, I understand why they would show up for me. But when someone does it to me and I hadn't done something necessarily to expect it, and I think in so many ways, when I just reflect back, I'm like, okay, you've shown up in different scenarios in different ways, where I wouldn't say, the best way to say it is, I would say I didn't earn, and I wouldn't say, I don't want to use the word I wasn't deserving, but I wouldn't say like I earned it to say that I was entitled for you to show up for me the way you did. But over the years, like, you've done that in so many ways that I knew. One of the things is being able to appreciate, like, love that is given to you, pure love that is given to you by someone
undeserving.
Yeah. And not, there are two ways you could go about it. Like, you take it and nurture it, or you take it for granted.
True.
Yeah.
True.
And so, yeah, and I opted for the latter. So.
The latter. And that's where grace plays a huge role, I would say, because God shows us grace every day. Yeah. And if you're in a friendship or in a relationship, I think I remember you talking about it, like when you get into a friendship with someone, like, you give yourself 100%. I'm the same. And I think that is one of the things, one of the commonalities that we actually do have. Like, I do not believe in giving you 50%. What's the point of that? Exactly. I give it all. At the end, I know people want to protect themselves and be like, oh, I don't want to get hurt. Like, if I give 50, then it's easy for me to just walk out without having all these emotions. But I don't know. I just give it all. I'm like,
safer. I mean, to be honest, people, And I think maybe that's some of the questions probably will touch more on that. I think that's why this has been more organic than in dynamics where you kind of, and I can't say we've had to prove our dynamic. I think when your heart is pure and your intention is pure towards anything, everything just seamlessly flows.
True.
I've had a similar conversation with one of my previous business leaders, and I think one of the common message in our discussions was that, like, the reason why the synergy worked is just that our minds and hearts were like at the same place and we're going in the same direction. So how do our differences balance and strengthen us?
Do we really want to talk about? Should we start with this morning?
Our differences. Wait, this morning the differences is just the fact that even your phone is on silent. Kirigo, don't bring this thing of my phone rang and I didn't answer. But our differences, what do you say? Our differences balance and strengthen us. Trying to think. What areas
I
are we
would.
different?
We have a couple of differences. Yeah,
we do.
I would point. First of all, you just spoke about social media right now. I'm like, yo, girl.
Kirigo has 100 followers and the account is private. Kirigo's Instagram is Kirigo's WhatsApp group.
So the same people for memes and all that. And Ivy's like, why don't you just WhatsApp them? I'm like, no.
Create a WhatsApp group.
But there's no, I don't get to use the filters which are there. It's much more easy. I don't get to forward memes to you, which later on we're like, oh, we need to pin this. This is a very good conversation.
For the next one.
Yeah. I would say you're more of I'm not going to call you a chatterbox, but
I'm a yapper.
Yeah, okay, there you go.
They're called the yappers nowadays. Apparently, it's a good thing to be a yapper. I'm embracing the yapping crew.
Okay, so Ivy is a yapper. She gets to have conversations. You get to have conversations with different people.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter the setting itself, yeah?
Yeah.
So at times you would put yourself in, I don't know, you would have these difficult conversations.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm always like, yo, I feel like at the end of it all, especially when we first met, you would get into the these settings where you're having conversations with people, and at the end you feel so drained.
Yeah, they're not even trying to, because those are the ones
exactly, because they're not trying to understand you where you're coming. And I think going on to the first point that we were actually discussing, that's actually one of the areas where I actually got to meet you, where you were trying to convince and let the other guys see your point of view. You had already seen where they're coming from, but they weren't seeing where you're coming from. And at the end, you're so drained. So I was like, girl, why do you always have to drain yourself with these conversations? Like, take a step back
and say, guys, by the
because at the end of the day, you're like, I'm feeling so exhausted. I'm like, it's because of those conversations that do not, because if a conversation does not edify you at the end of the day, like, why are you putting so much energy into it? And the fact that you know that, I would say that sometimes people can be very narrow-minded in the way that they are looking and they already have their pre-notions already set. So you trying to convince them is not really, it's you talking to dead wood.
Yeah, so in Swahili you say kupigia mbuzi guitar.
Exactly. So I'm there to tell you, girl, I do not think that's a discussion that you need to be getting into. Like, to think about yourself at the end of the day. Yeah.
I think how our differences balance and strengthen us. I think I'm putting a pat on the back for myself.
Is it?
Because I'm the social one, I expand Kirigo's social circle. So I keep an open profile so that Kirigo's, by the way, just FYI, for those people who are ever trying to follow, because I post and I tag Kirigo a lot on social media, people constantly go and follow and try and add her. I'm just going, this is your chance to save your follow. It is all in vain. But I think, okay, jokes aside, I think our... for me, because in so many ways we, let's say, have different personalities and the way we see things, I'm able to sort of also use you like as a sounding board, like especially in situations where I might feel like maybe I'm overreacting or maybe I'm kind of misunderstood. Because you're also not such an abrasive like person, like well, that's not the word. Yeah. I think the way me I address my confrontation, my issues. In fact, I think I said this in a different episode that I'm very comfortable in confrontation. Like I'm cool. The other person might switch to defense mode, but me, I'm just good with the setting. But I think being able to also, like sometimes when I'm reflecting or having conversations with you, replaying my discussions or my days, I'm able to like get a different perspective on the way I'm seeing things. And maybe sometimes you'd say something and I'm like, oh yeah, like I wasn't like, that's not the way like I thought like, about the situation. And I think that there's a way, the areas where I feel like I'm not usually confident, there's a way, there's a, for lack of a better way to say it, I think there's a way you see me that is, there's an elevated way of the way you describe me that makes me feel like I'm way better than I think than the way I think I am. And that helps that I constantly like have that voice of reason like at the back of my mind in a world where there's a lot of criticism and stuff. Yeah. That's mine. It's not your version of what you can say. Why is building intentional friendships as adults harder? And is it worth it?
I think we just spoke about
Why
that.
is it harder?
It's harder because I think that brings us back to the other point where I was talking, where I was saying like, we have a lot of things happening. Season, like
life.
we get caught up with so much. But the thing, why is it? Sorry, what's the last part? Like,
and is it worth it?
Is it worth it? It's definitely worth it.
Yeah.
Especially when you get to have a kingdom friendship.
Yeah.
Like, believe me, it's definitely worth it. Yeah. Because you look at it from a different perspective. You have someone who's challenging you. Challenging you in all aspects. Meaning that they know you in a deeper level. They know from a personal perspective what your weaknesses are and what your strengths are. And they do not work in order to expose them. They're there to cover you. Professionally, like where are you heading to? And they're there to push you and hold you accountable. Because accountability is actually one of it's a very, very crucial thing when we talk about accountability. Having someone who's able to call you out. And when they're able to call you out, like I said, there's grace in it. They call you out in a very humble way. You know that their intentions are, to see you develop yourself, to see you grow in all areas.
It comes from a pure place. And
it comes from a place of love.
Yes. Actually, so the next segment was supposed to be real love isn't afraid of truth. And so accountability done with grace is what keeps relationships healthy. So when you know that, oh, this person loves me and there is nothing that they are trying to like do
malicious
to get at me. So what do you feel, how would you say, what does accountability look like in our friendship?
Accountability, it's calling me out even when, I don't want to hear it. It's like, girl, I do not think what you actually said was a good thing or what you're actually doing is in alignment, because at the end of it all, we have our faith. And we want to be Christ-like in every aspect of our life. And the fact that we are grounded in our faith and we have this friendship, every aspect of how we are able to hold each other accountable is coming from a place of love. Yes. So,
I would say a good example of what accountability looks like in our friendship is we, I mean, we've made it, and I think, we've evolved over time in the sense that I know we've had a discussion around, especially where we're now trying to go in when like going into relationships and long-term commitments and the type of engagements that we involve ourselves in. I think the fact that we are able to have transparency, I think I know who some of your friends are, and you know who some of my friends are. We are able, we are in a space where you tell me, hey, I'm not quite sure whether this dynamic you're in for you is healthy. And even being able to, and only on the basis of the fact that we ground our dynamics on the basis of Christ-centered relationships. And so I think one of the things that I've highly appreciated and we've agreed also with Christine also. Has been that even when we get into relationships, we could be able to confidently say, because we know we've been praying for each other.
True.
That we've been praying, and for sure your answered prayer like doesn't look like this, and we would be able to take a step back to table what our concerns are before God without necessarily being personal. And I think that's one way. And of course, there are many other areas we've agreed in terms of accountability. But I think being able to have one holding each other to a high standard. We've got our professional side where we still discuss stuff and sort of like our relationship and personal stuff. So I think for me, having that, this is what I appreciate in the dynamics of our friendships, because I don't want to be friends with people who are just yes men. I could let you do whatever you want to do type of thing. Yeah.
And no guidance at all.
Yeah.
What?
When have we had conversation that brought growth? The one I have in mind, I'm not sure whether you're going to say it, but
is it?
Yeah. When have we had had conversation that brought growth? We had a situation before, but if that's not the one you want to describe, you tell me another situation.
Oh my days! When have we had?
We've had so many hard conversations.
We haven't.
We've had one only.
I don't think it's.
It was a hard conversation.
Was it?
Yeah.
Sometimes I can be like Christine in Delulu and I completely forget everything.
So I'll remind you, the hard conversation was, there was that time there was someone who was asking of you.
I was going to say that, but then I was like, yeah,
do we really? Yeah.
Do we really have to bring it up here?
I mean, we could say the story without like sharing the details.
You just shared the details.
Well, the person doesn't know. Probably they won't watch the episode.
Oh my days. I knew you were going to say
Kirigo,
that. But I even thought about it, but I was like, let me just cut it off and
then pretend you don't remember. Kirigo. So you'll tell the story because
no, I'm not going to tell it. It's best when it comes from your perspective.
So apparently, just FYI guys, Kirigo. So me, I go for this, I don't know where I was. I think it was church or something. And someone reached out to me and they said, yeah, it was church.
Yeah. It was.
And then someone said, hey, yo, by the way, like my friend, like they've seen this guy, friend of yours, and they're interested. Like, what do you think? And at the time, Kirigo was dating someone at the time. And so for me, just FYI, my principle is as long as someone is not married, they are single. But
what?
So true. Me, as long as we didn't attend your wedding,
then you're not
married, and then you're not engaged either. And at that time, Kirigo wasn't any of those. So for me, I didn't see a big deal. I didn't tell the person that, oh, you could go ahead. I just approached Kirigo and said, hey, by the way, there's this person, they're asking for your details. What do you think? And the issue wasn't the fact, because I hadn't already divulged any additional information to that other person. But I remember the hard conversation we had to have was on these two conflicting views that I believe that I'm like, I think you're not married. So
you're not married,
single,
but you're still single.
But Kirigo was like, but I'm in a serious relationship. Like, you should honor that. I'm like, yeah, I honor that for now. But until you tell me this is the man you're marrying.
Until he proposes to you,
Me,
then
you can. I'm not saying like cheat. I'm just saying like there's. I mean, think about whatever I'm saying objectively. I'm not trying to ruin what you have. I'm just saying, in case, and I think at that time we weren't as transparent as we are
yes,
now. So
yeah.
So I wasn't able to know. Sometimes like if like your friend is like in a relationship that's not working, you can say, I know this relationship is not working. And Tom is asking for your number. But in this situation, I didn't know. I knew like your situation was okay.
Yes.
So I guess that's maybe why like the conversation had to be had.
Yeah, so true. So my thinking then probably it's changed. But my thinking then, I think this is one of the points when you ask, how has our friendship actually changed us? My thinking then was that, okay, I'm in a relationship with someone. Of course, we're not committed. He hasn't proposed.
But we are committed.
But we are committed. Like I said, when I give 100%.
Yeah,
I have
yeah.
nothing else to give anybody else. So when I go, I'm like,
I'm locked in.
I'm locked in. Like box in, key, throw out.
Yeah.
That's me. Yeah?
Yeah.
So I didn't get it from a friendship perspective. The fact that we were actually growing our friendship. Yeah. I didn't get why you would actually entertain such kind of conversation. You would be like, yo, she's seeing someone. She is.
And I met him then. So
exactly.
You've met him and
I'm
you
like,
still think I need to be introduced.
Exactly. So for me, like when I'm in a relation, like I'm in there and all I see is us and the future and everything.
Yeah.
So I really do not have time for side conversations. So especially when I know what your intentions are, because I already know that you like what you see and you want to have a conversation. Exactly. And I do not have the capacity for that. And I'm already locked in with someone else. So so that was my mindset. And getting to also understand your perspective is also something else, because I also, when we were having the discussion or when we were having this difficult conversation is when I got to understand where you're actually coming from. Because also the relationships that were around you at the same time, that's how they were. So there was grace for me not to come in like, yo, this woman, I really do not think we should be friends. I would be like, she really doesn't
believe in godly.
She really doesn't want to see this thing prosper. The fact that I even introduced her, the audacity.
Don't you understand?
The audacity. The audacity on this friendship that you're calling a friend. I'm like, oh, girl. But anyway, but then I got to understand where you were also coming from, because it was the friendships around you. I think I saw that.
And it's because, by what I think Kirigo is trying to say by friendships is, I was in other dynamics where I would have approached them and said, oh, by the way, I was standing with Tom and Tom said they like you. Do you want me to give Tom your number? Because I never want to be the person, let's say for sure Tom approaches you in future and then he says, imagine I tried to reach out to you 1 year ago and your friend said no. Now I look like I'm gatekeeping.
True.
So I want you to say, I gave you a chance and you said no. Yeah.
Sure.
What helps us receive feedback from each other with humility?
I think knowing that it's coming from a place of love. And me knowing that it's actually coming from a place of love. The way I receive it and the way I'll receive it is that I'm not going to think like, okay, like before, the situation that we just spoke about right now, It's not the hard conversation. It's not like Ivy is saying it or it's coming from a place of malice or she doesn't have my best intentions at heart. It's because we've also been that vulnerable with each other for you to understand me. And I've been vulnerable enough for me to talk to you, like come to you as I am, like you get to know like the deep part, like
ins and outs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the feedback, when I receive feedback, like I know that she really wants the best for me.
Yeah.
And the fact that we're actually also rooted in Christ,
right.
and we both actually even the friendships that we have around us is that we want to be Christ-like. So I do understand. And when feedback is received, sometimes it might be hard to actually get it in.
And in real time, sometimes in real time, because in fact, I like, for example, like this conversation, because we've had now this conversation again in retrospect, and you're like, honestly, like now I get like the perspective then,
Exactly.
as opposed to, I mean, so the more you learn the dynamics of somebody, and I'm, in fact, because we were talking about this with the lady who does my makeup, Yeti, and we were talking about how cancel culture like does a thing. Like, can you imagine if you are the kind of person who blocks people just because you had one encounter and a weird engagement, and you're like, I'm going to block this person?
Sure.
We probably even wouldn't be friends. You'd have now been thinking, hey, this one is for
That Ivy girl, I just see
and
her.
she's here on stage singing.
And not even that, she even has a podcast, first of all.
Imagine.
That gives her the platform
These
to
people
continue
just misinforming people.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. Yeah.
So I'm gonna do a game check in here.
Okay.
With a couple of prompts. Game checking is, I'll give 4 prompts, and then in the prompts you give a response to the prompt. So I
Okay.
say a statement and then you finish the statement. So the first statement is, this week I'm grateful for.
This week I'm grateful for so many things. First of all, for you believing in me, and allowing me to come to the podcast and highlight and showcase what kingdom relationships actually are all about. And I hope and pray that the people who see this and anybody who comes across this is able to see that, yes, friendships might be scary to get in, but once you get into the right kind of friendships that are ordained by God, like a lot of things will change. There's always room to grow. There's cheering. There are hard conversations to have, but you also get to know, like any relationship, it grows and you get to know each other. So
I get it. Awesome. So, what is something I'm working on emotionally?
Me or you?
No, finish the sentence.
Oh.
So I say the state. So like I say, this week I'm grateful for. You say what you're grateful for. Something I am working on emotionally is
learning to let go and let God be. I cannot believe you're doing that anyway.
Work it. Yeah, absolutely.
But in all sense, I would say, because I remember, first of all, there's a conversation that I was having earlier this week, and I was having it with my line manager. We've really grown, and I really do appreciate where our friendship has actually gone to. And one of the reasons is probably the kind of friendship that we have right now. Maybe we can talk about it later. But we were having a conversation about letting go, and this letting go is in a different dynamic. So he was like, yo, I really do know that you really want to develop yourself. And it seems like there's a certain element, or there's a certain how do I say, a certain project that he gave to me. And I was like, I kept procrastinating it and putting it to the side. I remember I called you earlier this week. I'll be like, Ivy, can you believe this? So the conversation went like this. He's like, I understand that you're really good at what you're actually doing. And if you're really good at it, sometimes you can even do it with your eyes closed. But the things that we refuse to also let go of also prevent us from actually developing ourselves and moving to the next step. And it had me thinking, I'm like, oh, that's very I'm like, I was thinking about it, and I'm like, sometimes we think that I related it to my relationship with God. Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
like, sometimes I really want to take control and be
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah, this is what I want.
yes. But
Mm.
at the end, he's the one who knows what is
Yeah,
best for
yeah,
you.
the bigger
The
picture.
bigger picture
Yeah.
of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so, being able to especially when it comes to letting go, I think sometimes we're good at letting go in certain areas. Like we've trusted God with like a particular area, but not another. So like you could have trusted God with money because you've seen Him work in money, but you haven't trusted Him in relationships. Or you could trust God in your career. Like you could truly let go, but when it comes to family, you're not fully surrendered type of thing. And I think the journey of growth and progression is like when you realize like which areas are might not yet completely surrendered. And then like, yeah, would I say, what am I currently working on emotionally? I think just being able to realize that not everybody is willing to show up the way I'm showing up.
Oh my. Oh, that's
Yeah,
that's a deep one.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just stressed on that.
So true.
Yeah.
And
Hey, it's painful.
it is painful, but it also makes you, it doesn't change who you are and how you actually show up.
No,
It's
no,
only
no.
that you're able to understand.
Manage your expectations.
Yeah. And not only manage expectations, you're able to identify where people fall under. Yeah. Because you could be giving 100% to someone who's just like,
In fact, they're not even,
they're not
expecting
even
100 from
there.
you. Yeah,
No,
yeah.
no, no, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's a prayer that's grounding you right now?
A prayer that's grounded me is be still and know that I am God. Yeah.
Mine is teach me to number my days.
Amen.
One thing I've learned about myself lately.
What have I learned about myself lately?
You
I don't know
actually
why.
said one.
The
one you said about your boss.
Yes, there's that. I didn't want to repeat. I wanted to say
a new
something
one.
more fresh. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm sure me, I have a lot, but I just don't want to be the one who's telling your life. Because we talk every day. And people might, hey, does this lady even speak? Or do you just narrate her life?
Who, me?
The way I'm answering questions.
Wait, actually, the question was, what have I learned about myself?
Yeah.
Actually, this is quite funny. Ivy says I'm also a chatterbox. She didn't realize that I was one.
When we first met.
This can be, it depends. It depends who you're talking to.
Yeah.
Because if you talk to some people at work, they would say, oh, and you talk a lot. Like, I'm very chatty. The reason, I don't know, I just like to make
friends. I think when
and conversations, yeah. And when it's easy, it makes it much more. Like, I wanted to get to know you. If we're working in the same setting,
we might
of course, I'm not gonna pass you every day and be like, oh, I only know your name. Yeah, but it helps people also be more comfortable. I remember that when we had the workshop the other day, at church, and you could hear me outside, and you're like, oh, I thought this.
I'm like, I would understand if that was me laughing outside loudly. We were at this work seminar thing in church, and they were talking so loud that there was a lady inside. I think she was like, hey, these people make so much noise.
Oh, she really shut the door.
But I could hear that laughter. I was like,
that has to be
Kirigo. That's Kirigo. And ironically, I don't, because your demeanor doesn't come across as a very chatty person. Like if someone meets you, I realized you're more chatty when, especially in when you're meeting my circle of friends, you're easy to chat because you kind of have a load down of who the person is.
Sure.
I think when you don't have, like if you're meeting someone, like the times I've introduced you to someone without explaining who the person is, like before, I just say, oh, by the way, this is so-and-so, hello. You're usually like, oh, okay, hi. Yeah. But when I say, oh, this is, you remember, you're like, oh, yeah, like the way you've done with my previous boss.
Oh, him. Oh, yeah. And let me tell you, sometimes it's easy. I don't know, because you also get to sense the person at the time when you're introducing each other. Yeah. So you get to see, is this a person that you could actually have a conversation with? Because it also, the demeanor,
Hey, the person is like, hey, relax.
yeah, exactly. The demeanor
match.
itself will actually dictate how it actually goes.
Yeah.
So that's why most of the times I take a step back.
Some people don't have an approachable look.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's some who will come with so much energy and I will be like,
now I need to be
man,
careful.
this is too much right now. I really
not today.
Not now. Maybe in a while.
I hear you. Very, very possible. Okay, so now, so sometimes connection isn't about proximity, and especially I remember the time when you're like studying, we couldn't meet as often. But I have a few questions around like how we've managed benefit of phone calls and prayer and presence. How do we stay close even when life gets full?
I think it's all about being intentional.
Yeah.
Like the voice note that you send. That meme.
Oh yeah, that's a full
Actually that's a whole conversation. I mean, it's like at the end you send me like 10, like I don't know, 20 memes, and I'm not, like you said, I'm on social media, but usually I get there on a Friday and I'm like, what has been happening? And then now I have to catch up. I'm like, damn, I have to text you. I'm like, Ivy, I know we have a lot to catch up on.
And imagine Kirigo is not even on my top meme sharer list.
I know.
My top meme sharer list is with Barack and with Mike. So the memes Kirigo gets are like maybe like a fraction of the ones that have been moving between
Mike,
Barack and the other time. Like we were having a conversation with Michael and we were talking about I was telling him, I don't think we talk a lot. And he says, like we chat every day. I'm saying, no, we don't talk every day. He says, man, we send memes from morning to evening. That's talking. I was like, okay, but that doesn't count. But now after I've seen those memes for like, if we share reels, we are in a relationship.
Exactly. And also prayer, I have to point out on that. Yeah. It's also when we also get to pray for each other. I'm not expecting that you will, but I know as a friend, like I always keep you because at the end it's family. Yeah. And I see you as family rather than just friendship. Yeah.
And I think for me, the idea of like I think there are times, like those times when you were home and we're like, okay, we've chatted, we've done what, we're like, okay, we could easily switch from like a banter conversation to worship music and then to prayer. I think the fact that one of the things I think that changes the dynamics, especially when it comes to conversation, I think one of the things that changes the dynamics has been, the way now I think our relationship is at the point where I'm able to like update you. The way something happens, there's that one person you want to call to tell. Unfortunately, that person used to be Rehema for me, but she got her family and she got her person. So I had to kind of move on. But like what has helped is the fact that like because we are always up to speed with what's going on in each other's life, I know areas to pray for you, areas where times when I know like you need me to check in. Sure. I know when you're not able to show up like 100 because you have a lot on your plate.
Yeah.
And I think even our check-ins, even the way people say, okay, there's intentionality. But I think when you have genuine interest in a person, I don't even think like I schedule, like I have to tell myself, call Kirigo.
Nah.
Like, it's like, guess what? I'm just from this thing. And then we end up in a 1 hour conversation.
Don't lie. It's not 1 hour, girl.
Okay, maybe 2 hours.
It's not 2 hours. It goes up to 4 hours. And at the end, we're like, I think maybe we should have met. But then we know if we meet, then it's not really going to happen. We're just going to talk forever. And also, you actually reminded me something else. Yeah. It's also our weekly catch-ups that we have with Christine. Yeah. Those prayer sessions, I have to say, it's more like fellowship, because it says in the word, where 2 or 3 are gathered in his name, he will be in the midst of us. And I love those sessions on Friday. And the fact that Christine mostly is the one who holds us accountable for that. Most of the times it's it's not the three of us, but
she's
she has
she's a unified person.
exactly. There always has to be two people or three
Yeah,
people,
yeah.
but that's a good thing
That's
because
we are two or more.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's really, really beautiful because we get to do this on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
We get to deep dive into the word, and also that's also where we also get to build our relationship. Yeah, because we get to understand what's happening in your life.
Yeah.
Like, how are we able to help each other?
Yeah. How do you want someone to show up?
Exactly. And I really, really do love those sessions because I've never had that. And these are the kind of friendships, like when I talk about kingdom relationships and friendships, this is what I'm talking about.
Absolutely. And especially with the fact that there is one of the things that I appreciate is the fact that, like, we're all in, like, pursuing different things,
So
but
true.
like everybody is still rooting and championing one another. There's I sometimes, like, I think I had this discussion with Rehema in season 1 where I had a question around, like, whether there's such a thing as, like, healthy jealousy. And I was like,
it has
never, and I was like,
do not think so.
I'm never, there's no way, like, you'd give me a highlight of your life.
And I'll be
jealous. Then I wish that, oh my God, like, I wish that was me.
Yeah.
Like, in the heat of it, the only thing I'm thinking is, like, what? Like, this
I'm
is
so
amazing.
happy.
Yeah, like, this is amazing news,
Yes.
And I just find it weird. Most likely 2 segments starts here.
Wait, do we show it at the same time?
Yes, we should show at the same time. So if the answer is me, you show my name. So who is most likely to forget to reply, but call 55 minutes later? This we're
on the same page.
Yeah. Who is most likely to quote scripture mid-rant?
100%.
Who's most likely to start a serious talk and then ends it in laughter?
I think it's all of us.
Like, I'm gonna say
it has to be both of us.
I'm not quite sure. This I think should even be 2 questions. Who's less likely to be late but bring food? The be late first is me. Bring food could never be me. Maybe Kirigo. Kirigo delivers food.
Wait, just to be precise on that, I do not deliver food. It's so I've been working on my baking skills, just for highlight purposes. Because, we're told to, as we wait.
Naturals.
No. As we wait, we should be working on ourselves. Since we're seeking kingdom marriages.
I don't think I'll be baking in my marriage.
I'll be baking for
you'll be baking croissants.
Exactly. No, leave the croissants alone, because
Kirigo is in a healthy journey. So me, I eat Kirigo's healthy cookies, healthy.
It's actually granolas. I would also do like carrot cake, like walnut bread. So some healthy stuff. Really, really good. Wait, Kirigo, but do you like them? Are they really good?
No, I did, yes. I ate the one you sent the other day that apparently you said I ate all of it in one sitting.
Oh, yeah. I was like, girl, at least give it some time.
What was I supposed to do? Okay. The other one is cry fast when things get deep. Machos.
I have a question. When you talk about deep, like deep in what sense? Like deep, because deep is
deep
quite
happy, deep sad.
It's quite general. Yeah. Like in which area? All. It depends.
Okay.
All. For you.
Me, I cry all the time.
Mine is on
certain things.
It has to. It's more on friendships and relationships. Yeah. That's where you'll find me crying. Yeah, the rest, you'll find me at the gym. I'll kill it and then come out with a different perspective because I'm like, this weight.
And I've carried those dumbbells. This is
I've done the
CrossFit pressure. The CrossFit pressure.
Yeah.
Turn venting into a sermon.
Oh, I agree 100%.
But if anything for me is a sermon.
Exactly.
Anything for me. Like, if you want to tell me, so and so did, that's a sermon. If you want to tell me, I'm looking to get a promotion, that's another sermon. That's another sermon.
Yeah.
So great. So we're done with the game. So we'll get back to, I think we can put the papers back. So this segment is where we talk about aspects of faith, trust, and a bit of family. So my perspective is some friendships are divine assignments and they teach us what love, trust, and faith really mean. And I think in the beginning I was trying to explain to you like how this dynamic has taught me a bit of that. So, but I wanted to ask you, how has our friendship strengthened your faith?
Remember at the beginning when I said you're very bold?
Yeah.
It's more of you're bold to talk about God in all settings. It doesn't matter what setting it is. It doesn't matter who you're having the discussion with. It could be people who were rooted in the same faith or beliefs.
Yeah.
It could also be people who are not. Yeah. And I love how you're able to have these conversations and not look or feel like you're imposing, because I think that's what turns people off. Yeah. Usually people are not receiving of the conversations because at the end they feel like, what are you trying to push this down me? Yeah. It's the way you bring it across in your conversation, and also the way you also carry yourself. I think that's also something else. So that has really brought perspective into how I actually handle the conversations that I'm having with other people, and in terms of how my faith is actually growing.
I would say it's one of the things, I think aspects of my life that demonstrate like my growth when it comes to faith is experiencing like God's love in human form. And I think our relationship has been like God reinforcing that, like this is how much I love you, and this is why I've given you so and so. And so our relationship like has like edified that. I think I have different people in different parts of the world and who've played like very pivotal roles in demonstrating that, and you've been one of them. And so I would say that is the one thing for me. The other one is, what does being each other's safe place mean to you?
What does that mean to me? It means like I can be my authentic self when I'm telling you anything. Like I don't have to have any filter. I just come and lay everything down to you. Same
Real
as
time.
you.
Hey, can you imagine?
Girl, are you seated? Or are you standing? Are you ready
I have
for
5
this?
minutes before I enter the meeting. Summarize it, or should I call later?
And that's usually the worst thing, because we leave each other pending. It's like,
I'm just on fire.
I really want to know what she wants to talk about. And I remember most of the times, actually, during the week, it's usually the tricky part of it. It's like, girl, I have back-to-back calls today. Yeah, I'll call you later.
This story can't wait for back-to-back. Like, this story, you tell me now.
And I'm like, can you summarize it in 3 minutes? No.
Gioni, evening. Yeah, true. What does being, okay, so for me, I think that's it. I think one of the things that I've appreciated over time, I remember, so I'm going to bring this here. I think there's something I once told you earlier on in our relationship that I think I've reinforced over and over, and how we've grown in that. I remember the first time that I said to you that even as much as we were friends then, but I was telling you how I feel like I said I only have 2 people who I know.
Girl, I kept thinking, I knew you were going to say that. Yeah. You got to bring it.
I have to bring it.
Yeah.
To show, like,
bring it up.
Because I said that at the time to just, and I'm only bringing it now to just show how, like, we've grown over time, like, in terms of our dynamic. But at the time, I was trying to tell you how it's difficult. I cannot, our friendship at the point, I think we weren't as vulnerable for me to know that if right now, if someone came and told me, oh, Kirigo did this, I'd be like, no. Like, okay, even if she did, there's more to it. Like I wouldn't come guns blazing fast.
Like jump into
Yeah,
conclusion
just
about
yes.
it. Yeah.
Because I know you enough to know, like, there's something someone would tell me, I'm like, yeah, that's very feasible. Like Kirigo would do that, but like not in the way you're trying to narrate it. Or
True.
even if that's in the way you are trying to narrate it, I know what your strengths and what your weaknesses are. Um and and either way, that where we're at is that doesn't deter like the dynamics of our relationships, because we're open enough to challenge each other for growth, both in strength and in weakness. And so I think at the time when I was saying it, I remember we had a conversation after, and you were like, I don't understand why somebody would tell someone upfront that I just don't think you're the person who like would hold it down. But now I think in hindsight, if you think about it, if I ever just said from the beginning, like, oh my God, you're my bestie, hey, you'd also be uncomfortable.
I would also be very uncomfortable. I'll be like, what is she?
Like, what makes you feel like you could count on me like that?
Yeah, I haven't really shown up. You know, I think that's what we discussed. That was what we were saying.
Yes.
Like, you haven't really shown up in a way that I would be able to
Trust.
Exactly. And I also understood like the other relationships that you had and how
they've grown.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it also comes with having these hard conversations that we're talking about, because then, and also getting to know each other even more. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, now I know how you think. I know what you think. Yeah.
And I think vulnerability it plays a big part.
It does. It does.
Think at the time we hadn't shared like because I have a tendency to express myself. So sometimes someone may presume because we've discussed a specific topic that we had a vulnerable moment, but maybe it was just me having my moment, but you didn't necessarily express yourself. So I can't say like, we've had a transparent moment for us to say this is a safe space. But I think the more each one of us like peels out layers of themselves,
True.
You then get to create this environment where you could show up.
True.
So how has trust been built and tested between us? I don't think we've had those dynamics of like, I have fought for this
relationship.
Or maybe it's just me. Do you have like, how has trust been built and tested? So how would you say how we built trust? I think transparency.
It's been transparency.
Yeah, it's been transparency.
And also I like coming to you, being vulnerable. Like we were talking about being vulnerable. You don't get to be vulnerable with everybody.
Yes.
There are certain aspects of yourself that you can only show
Tell
to
someone.
Yeah. So that is also trust. Like I trust you enough to know that you're gonna cover me.
Yeah.
When I'm not around,
yes,
I know that Ivy's got my back, Christine got my back.
Yeah.
I know that I really do not need to be there. But if a certain conversation needs to be had, I know that Ivy will be looking out for me, will be like, hey, Asha.
What are you saying?
Yeah. And so I can say that's where trust has actually.
So, because for me, this friendship is like family. And I think the reason why I define this friendship like family is because the way I would love on my sister, for me, I feel like, the world sort of God had a way of giving me like a bonus sister. Same, I think every time I've built intimate relationships, I'm always saying like the beauty of the kingdom of God is like how God tends to extend your family. I initially grew up like an only kid before my sisters came years later. And now years later, I'm like, I have so many sisters in so many families. And so where I'm going with this is just to ask, what makes this friendship feel like family to you?
It feels cozy. It feels cozy in a way. Like, look at us, the way we sit here.
Imagine.
Like, I can come to your place. We'll just talk like family. Like, it's the same as what you were just trying to articulate earlier on. It feels easy. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And I believe that's how friendship should be. Yeah.
Yep.
It shouldn't feel like, oh my God, I really need to try so hard to get Ivy
to get my attention.
Yeah. And not only that, like, I really have to try so hard to get 100 out of her. It's me giving 100, knowing that you're also giving 100 into it. Yeah. And being intentional in every way. Like family, you know, it's family. I'm like,
Yeah. So guys, this conversation gets deeper in part 2. So we've talked about how our friendship found us and how it became a space for laughter, honesty, and faith. But the thing is, what happens when life changes pace, when purpose, relationships, and seasons evolve? That's what we'll dive into in next week in part 2. So where we discuss keeping the promise when life gets loud. So take a breath, share this video with your friend, share this episode with a bestie, someone who even doesn't know that they are close to you, or someone you consider having kingdom relationships, and come back for the rest of the story next week for part 2. Gotta love, gotta love, gotta love.